Hello, everyone, and welcome to your video talking about the different area formulas that you should be familiar with. So we're going to start here with a square. We know it's a square because we have right angles and all four sides are congruent. And the formula for the area of a square, if you think of this as a side, it will be side times side, right? Side times side, which, if you wanted to be all fancy about it, would be side squared. So A equals side squared is a common way that you will see that. That is really the same thing as length times width. It just so happens that our length and the width are the same. So we wind up having just one number here that gets multiplied by itself. So that is how you calculate the area of a square. A rectangle, we have length and width. And so most of you probably know this formula already. A equals length times width. Okay, fair enough. Here we have a triangle. And the formula for the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. 1/2 base times height. So here's your base, right? Going across. And then your height is this. One mistake that students sometimes make is that they look at the side of the triangle for the height. No, that's not correct. It is the actual height. And if you have a funky looking triangle, like let's say we have this kind of triangle, here would be our base, and our height, we would have to drop a perpendicular here, and we would have to measure that as our height. So just know that your height calculation is very important, and it can be a little hard to get at. Sometimes it's not even inside the triangle. That's okay. One question that students sometimes ask is, how do I know that this is the base of my triangle? Why couldn't this be the base? It could be. If this were the base of your triangle, then you would calculate this as your height, right? So any of your three sides could be your base. You just need to figure out your height from there. Okay, that sounds good. All right, so far, so good. So now let's look at a parallelogram. Now, a parallelogram kind of looks like a rectangle, except we don't have right angles anymore, right? We can have uh, different angles. This could be 100 degrees. This could be 52 degrees. We don't know how many degrees it is. So we cannot just use this rectangle formula, length times width. Instead, we will say base times height. It's usually how it's expressed. So again, this could be your base, and you have to have a perpendicular here in order to calculate your height. So you could calculate your height here, or you could calculate your height here if you wanted, right? Either one of those will give you the same number. And so you have to figure out one of those in order to be able to calculate area. All right, now we have a trapezoid. And the formula for the area of a trapezoid is 1/2 times the sum of A plus B times the height. What? Yeah, hold on just a minute. So the A is up here, and the B is here, and the height is here. Now, if this is a right angle right here, then you could use this side as your height. But if it's not a right angle, you're not sure, then you need to drop a perpendicular somewhere so that you can get the exact height. The A and the B are the top and bottoms, the parallel sides of your trapezoid. Okay, now the reason that all of this is important is because when you have a wonky shape like this, you can still calculate the area of the wonky shape by dividing it into one of these shapes. So for instance, I could drop a perpendicular here. I would know that this side is 6, and I would know that this side is 7. How do I know that? Well, because this whole thing has to equal 15, right? So this has to equal 7, so this equals 7, and this equals 6. So the area of this would be 6 times 7, which is 42. And the area of this rectangle would be 15 times 5, which I'm pretty sure is 75. So the area of the whole thing would be 75 plus 42, which is 117. And remember, this is going to be in feet or centimeters or miles squared, right? Because whenever we're calculating area, we're getting a squared answer. Now, before I let you go, I just want to tell you one more thing. And that is that sometimes you will see your information given to you in a different way, because there's also a formula that says that the area of any of these shapes equals MH, where M is your midpoint. So right here, we could calculate if this were a midpoint, right? You have to assume it's a midpoint. If this were a midpoint, you could do H, which is this, times M, your midpoint, and that would give you the correct answer. Same thing here. If we had a midpoint, if we had a mid segment, I'm sorry, I'm saying that wrong. If we had a mid segment, we could take our mid segment times our height, which is our width in here, and we would get the correct area. We could also do this with a trapezoid. If we took our mid segment times our height, we would get the correct area. Usually, they don't give you the mid segment information, so that's why it doesn't usually get included in the list of formulas that you should memorize, but you should just know that that is also a valid formula. So you need to make sure that these formulas are in your notes. You actually need to know them, and you might as well go ahead and memorize them. You probably have most of them memorized already, so just add that trapezoid one in there, and then you'll be good to go.